still cheating, right? So I said, hey, man, I ain't got a chance. That's why I left the country. I said, man, I don't, plus my little research. But anyway, when I got there, I went to Algeria because the Black Panther Party in exile was there. And it was something happened about a year or two before where Huey Newton had an interview on one of the morning shows in California between him and Eldridge Cleaver. And Eldridge was trying to undermine him or something like that. And then Huey, when he came out of prison, he was really messed up. We all know that story. But anyway, when we had that meeting, I presented my proposal to him. I said, well, now I done already gave him a lot of money, you know. Not the whole thing, but I done gave him a lot of money. So anyway, I tell him the way we can support rebellion, because remember the idea is we get organized, we go back to America and take over, you know. That was, well, when you're young, I mean, that's the way you think you can do it. So that was the whole idea. That was supposed to be the idea, that we get organized. And then just like they went back to South Africa, they had to struggle a long time. You know, all the liberation movements was going out of the country. And they were in Algeria, they was in Tanzania. Every country that I lived in, like Algeria and Tanzania, was a frontline state. They had got their liberation a few years before. For Algeria, it was about 8 or 9 years, 62. And Tanzania, about 63 and 64. So they invited liberation movements in, and they gave them support, you know, from SWAPO, all the liberation movements, because remember, in those days, Africa was only half free. It was still Angola, man, Mozambique, almost everybody, not everybody, but it was about half free, and the other half was still colonized. Or it was about 40% colonized. And if you take South Africa, oh, it boosted back up to 50%. So if you look at the numbers, the people that had got their liberation would support the ones that were still fighting. So the only places that I would live was places like that, which really was Algeria, because they wouldn't send you back here. We wouldn't live in Kenya, because Kenya would send you back. Or they would let the FBI grab you, put you on an airplane like they did one of our friends, and land at Kennedy and arrest you at Kennedy Airport. It is a dirty trick, you know what I mean? But that's the way they would do. So anyway, Setaway, I might have a picture of Setaway, at least on one of these magazines. Where? Anyway, Setaway wrote the book Dope Plus Capitalism. And he didn't believe. I remember he was telling me, he said, I was telling him that, hey, by the way, this is Pete O'Neill, and this is his wife, Charlotte, right here. So, that's him right there. That should be. This is some of the staff, DC from Oakland, Michael Tabor. That's him right here. This is Connie Masterson. This right here is Michael Setaway. That's Setaway right there. This is DC, this is Uncle Eldridge. No, man, Uncle Eldridge got everybody killed. That boy was just unbelievable, you know. Plus, he was funny. You know, I ain't gonna talk about him because he's dead, but that's what he used to say. He's dead good. Yeah, this is a better picture of him right here. Right there. Okay. Set away, Michael Tabor. The argument was, or the discussion, it wasn't an argument, it was a discussion. They rejected my proposal on the platform, but actually half of the people there thought it was a great idea, but they couldn't go against the general vote, the vote. So my idea was, look, we need to do something about America. It's going to take a lot of money, and we can't depend on other people. So we raise our own money. They said, well, what do you have in mind? I said, well, we'll start a drug cartel, and we'll smuggle drugs wherever we want. We can smuggle them to Europe and take the money into America. We could smuggle them anywhere we want. You know what I mean? Not just America where you kill everybody, but you could smuggle them anywhere you want. You got the world at you know, you can hook it up. So they said no, and what Setaway said was, I don't believe that all of those drug dealers are going to do like you did, which they didn't. He was right. He was 100% right. I was going off an emotion that since they did me this way, everybody that's like me is going to make the same decision I made. They're going to become revolutionaries because all their friends are becoming big-time revolutionary. You know what? See, George Jackson, Fleeta Drungo, all the Soledad brothers, everybody, the W.L. Nolan and all them guys, those guys, we was in prison together. Not prison, we came up together in a little bitty kiddie prison. You know, where you come up in the state. And by the time, Fleeta Drungo was my workout partner at Tracy. If I wouldn't have went home in 65, if I'd have waited a few months and got transferred to Soledad with him, I would have been one of the Soledad brothers, you know. But that's why I feel it's the whole thing that's been going on for years seems to follow that I just got a break. I went through all the troubles and hassles that everybody else did, but I just got a break and I did this, right? And some kind of way eased away. So that's why I feel so serious about this, you know. Like that's why I was showing Malcolm's picture the other day, you know, Malcolm Shabazz. He got killed in Mexico because he didn't have enough game yet, you know what I mean? And everything them bums was doing, to him, he was developing. And the minute he turned the corner and start developing, bam, he was dead. They sent him down to Mexico to get killed. He don't even speak Spanish. Supposed to speak down there, yeah, and all of that. So they sent him down there and beat him to death. They beat him to death, you know. So that's why we feel obligated. All of these brothers, almost every one of them is dead. Pete is the only one that's still alive, Pete and Charlotte. And Pete is not a teenager. Pete is older than I am. So, in fact, since we're on that subject, that wasn't what we was going to talk about, let me find a letter. Y'all remember I gave y'all a copy of a letter not long ago from Pete that he had sent me when I asked y'all to look up to look up his organization on the email or something like that? Okay, letter. Let's see what we got. Because he wrote it right here, and let me see. I thought I had brought it with me. Actually, it just seems like we just would be dropping right into the subject if it's here. We'll give it one more shot, and after that, we're going to call it a day. But anyway, so Pete wrote a letter here, and I knew all of his friends because he was from Kansas City. And when they sent me from McNeil Island to Kansas City, to Leavenworth. Leavenworth is 35 miles from Kansas City. Everybody so it was right there where he's from. And so I got a chance to talk to all of his friends about where he was coming from as a person. But anyway, it don't seem like I could find that letter, but I had swore that I had brought it. I'm going to look just one more time because it will make a lot more sense if I can read that letter. So everybody bear with me for a second. Well, what I didn't do was say Bismillah. That's why I can't find it. But anyway, it was a good letter, and the letter was talking about the same letter where he was asking me to send him some tapes, some more CDs that he liked in them, and there's one he had lost. Now Pete, he took over the party when Eldridge stepped down in '72. So Pete O'Neill was head of security when I was there. He took your picture and made a folder. You had a folder, like a little ID card. They just kept check of the people who came there. So anyway, he had one of me. He took care of all that stuff, and then he moved to Tanzania after I had lived there for a while, because Tanzania was Black Africa, and Algeria was Arab Africa. So we was kind of, we didn't feel too comfortable in Algeria because of the culture. We Negroes, I went to a nightclub in Algeria and it wasn't nothing there but men, because they Muslim. What you go to a nightclub to catch, right? So I'm in the nightclub and ain't nobody drinking alcohol, they drinking tea. And about 40, let's say at least 35% of the women wore niqab. Now guess what? The Negroes chose those women to be hitting on. That's why they got put out of, no, I'm telling you, these are the words that Pete told me, and if he's watching it, he knows he said it. He said, man, he said vagina. Well, he actually said pussy. Pussy got us put out of Algeria. Not Arabs didn't like us or nothing. They hitting on the women with niqab. And one of my friends, who I show you pictures sometime, he was telling me, boy, when we get hold to one of them girls, the Negro was kind of juicing them up a little bit, and maybe the Arabs wasn't. And they be, I said, and I was a kind of a Muslim, Nation of Islam. So I said, that stuff ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly here. And they kept on. And they stayed high all the time. They go down to the Rudy Douche Murad and buy hashish almost every day. So I told them at the same meeting, I said, you can't have no revolution. Now remember, I was already disciplined. That's how I happened to get rich. And just before I left, I got my big time discipline back, running in the hills regularly and lifting iron and all that stuff. So I told them, I said, you can't be getting high and, you can't be messing around and having no revolution. It ain't gonna work. And it didn't work. But anyway, let me read this little from Pete O'Neill. Brother Musa, a brief note of greetings and an opportunity to express our pride in the work you are doing. Every morning I go for a 4-mile walk. He's up in the mountains, not in any physical mountain, but he's up near Mount Meru, which is 14,000 feet up. You can see Kilimanjaro 38 miles away. So it's up in the mountains of Tanzania. In other words, it's good weather up there. It's cool at night, not too hot in the day. It's not like Dar es Salaam, sea level, tropics, burning up all the time, snakes and everything running all around. Snakes in your house. You can't get a house that don't. No, it has lizards, like in here. I'll finish reading the letter. In here, it would be a lot of lizards, and we could see them very easy because they would change color, and they would think the color that they changed is the color, that white. They can't change that color. But they think they did. So we would go running after and said, leave them alone. Those lizards are gonna eat up all the flies. They're gonna keep your house clean. So, okay. So you get used to living with 8 or 9 lizards just hanging on the wall. I mean, this all the houses, you just get used to that. And snakes going everywhere. One time, big old snake showed up at let's call it a barbecue, like shoot. And the Negroes from here was gonna run and kill the snake. They say, stop. That might be one of our ancestors. And the Negroes all there had PhDs, they was big educated, didn't make no difference. That might be one of our ancestors. So, hey, it's fine, yeah, it probably is. He looked like half the niggas here. So, you just have to get used to real African culture. And the way they drive, they hang one of them little things, a good luck charm up on the thing, and they be driving they be killing themselves. You think they committing suicide because a good luck charm that they hung up there is gonna look out for them. You don't have to worry about that. They believe that. Well, okay. I'm talking about 50 years ago, Africa. Africa is different now. One of the little sisters that come here from Tanzania, she told me, you wouldn't know Dar es Salaam now, because I'm telling her, yeah, we used to catch the ferry, they get clunk, clunk, clunk over the Kurasini and all that. Now they probably got giant bridges, and, so that was 50 years ago. But let me finish reading about Pete. You'll get an idea. During that time, I used a Walkman to listen to political speeches or historical discussions. As well, I listened to the recordings of your khutbahs. They are very enlightening and informative. I would be very grateful if you were able to send others. I lost the one where you talk about your experiences in East Africa, where we was. Would love to have that again. We as well are pleased with our work. We feel we are continuing the work of the Black Panther Party with dignity. They have United African American Community Center. They have a community center there. Now it's called the United African American Community. It used to be called the Malcolm X Community Center, and they teach the kids, they feed kids, they have a good educational program for with computers and all of that. They really bring the kids up to date. They technically educate them. So he stayed in exile. He's never been back here. But they're doing the work. That was his evolution. He said, I'm not coming back here. In fact, he sent me a tape back in '83. He said, he was on the tape, he was talking about one of our friends, we used to call him Professor, that passed away. This guy's mother, Professor, was a Garveyite. And he used to talk about when his mother came to, remember Marcus Garvey's newspapers and all that would go all along the coast of Africa. And they would inspire the Negro Improver. He was inspiring people all over the world. Yeah. In fact, Kwame Nkrumah was just about juiced up by him. Yeah, by Marcus Garvey. So don't worry about, oh, when ain't nobody paying no attention to us. Bull crap. Everybody paying, not everybody, but there's people paying attention. So anyway, the professor passed away. That was in '83. So Pete, he did a video and he was talking about some of the things there, and he said, I'm really thinking about giving up my U.S. citizenship. And he said, I hear that they got stuff over there, people wearing curly cues on their head, and they talk about plastic bags with, you know, they would all that stuff. He say, that was in '83, and they was really doing that. He say, I don't know if I could even handle all of that stuff, you know. And so it was such a difference. In '83, that was only maybe about 15 years difference when, about 15, 16 different years from when when everybody left. Let me speed up. So, good brother, you are an inspiration for our people. Keep up the good work. Stay well, Pete. So anyway, next time I go to Tanzania, I'm going to stop, but I have to hurry because, see, they're not teenagers. I don't know if you saw that thing that they did on them, and they was laying up, they was older. Well, I ain't no teenager myself, but they're older than I am. And they had malaria. Remember, they was getting over malaria, and I said, man, I better hurry up and get around because all my home folks was leaving. It ain't no joke. I mean, they're not young, and they're living nice periods of time. You know, somebody die 80 years old, that ain't bad. They didn't pull it off. But anyway, let me get adjusted here. The title, well, the title might come out to be anything the way I got all this stuff spread over. The title is Family Appeal. And the reason it's about family appeal is because I want to talk a little bit about my direct family. If you remember, not long ago, we was doing a program with Iran, and we was doing it with here, and the one we were doing here, they were copying it in Iran, and the ones we did down there, it went directly to, you know, it was a few little programs. So I just start off where This is from 7/26/81. I come before you at a grave time in history. When we have lost pride in self and others, loss of confidence in God, country, mom, apple pie, economic disaster, unemployment, cut-offs, cutbacks. You know, that was the beginning of those days when they're really cutting back and cutting off. They still doing it now, but that was when America was big and running good, and now this is the beginning of cutbacks and cutoffs. And puppet leadership, collaborators, fear of reprisals, cop-outs, sellouts, and punk-outs. And that's when we was talking about, that's the way it looked then. Remember, this is 10 years after the rebellion. It's 81. And we're writing this we're organizing all of this in prison because we didn't came back. We made a decision years before. If we're going to struggle, will you struggle above ground or underground? The BLA, Black Liberation Army, Brother Sekou and them had showed, a lot of them was in exile, and we studied that. Imam Jamil and them had been in exile, but I didn't meet him then. He was going a little ahead of me, you know. In fact, when he was going to trial, when I was over there, because he got sent up in 72 or something like that, yeah. But anyway, we had made an analysis. Like before we went overseas, we made an analysis. That's what I recognize now, that we didn't just jump up and do anything, that we always studied our situation. So when I was over there, I'm studying our situation here and where we are. So I come to the conclusion, after talking to all the brothers, that you can't have a successful revolution from underground. Because if you do, study all the groups. If you're underground movement, you specialize in bombings, destabilization, and all of those things, right? But when you win and you get the government, you don't know how to run no government because you get professionals at destabilizing, nor do you have anybody in the government. But if you work above ground, it's like here. We know how to run a government. Why? Strategic management under conditions of repression. You have to plan, organize. You know, even on our level, you can't, you know, right, what you have to deal with, and you have a process. Well, if we want to go here, we have to set a goal to get there. Now, and then all we have to do, if we know where we want to go, we're almost there, because all we have to do now is figure out how to get there. See, the hardest part is knowing where to go, right? As the old saying, revolutionary saying, I would rather know where to go and not know how to get there than how to get there and not know where. That's a tongue twister, but here's what that means. In those days, the United States knew how to do anything. It could go to outer space. It could, you know, it could do anything it wanted to do. Like right now, it still has the power. In our group, at one time we had, say, 8 functioning centers, right, of our own. all of them packed with people. Just like this used to be packed, all those places were packed. We had everybody there. We had immigrants. Oh, I'm telling you, it was a big show. Okay? So, and all of them was the police. This was our place in LA right here. As-Sabiqun. Or one of them. This is all the kids there at UCLA, all the immigrants' kids, all of the people. Here's a whole crew of sisters, you know. Yeah. So in other words, if the government wanted to restart a movement, remember, MSA West, which was what we was doing out there, MSA West had gotten as powerful as the MSA itself. The MSA West, they had all these kids, all these are all at the universities. Hey, I was going everywhere, Stanford, UCLA, all, and they were all government workers. The whole thing was government workers. But remember, if the government want to build a masjid and fill it up with people, or 50 masajid, they could almost snap their fingers and do it. They got the people, they got the imams, they got everything. They can do that. So if they wanted to do it, they could, but they won't do it. It's better to know where to go and not know how to get there. We got to work to do all of that. In fact, when they pull the cord, all of those people, all those people you see, they all gone. Where did they go? Nobody knows. One of them, Ahmed Shama, come in here and asked, Imam Musa, what do you want us to do with our bayah? I said, what was that, 12 years ago we all took a bayah? I ain't seen you in 12 years. Right? I ain't seen you in 12 years. So, I didn't even give him the answer. I said, it's a ridiculous question. You're going to come in here, and you done seen everything that's been going on. This was only a year or so ago. And y'all done closed down this place, closed down another place, you know what I mean? And the whole student movement is all defunct. Just like that. They build it up just like that, and they close it down just like that. So they don't know where to go. Like right now, they don't know what to do. The government, they just had the Democratic Convention, they don't know what to do. They don't have any idea. The stuff they're talking about is the same stuff they've been talking about for the last zillion years, and if they did everything that they said they was going to do, it wouldn't amount to nothing. The oceans are still going to boil over, all the stuff going on. Hey man, every time you hear the news, remember we was listening to the news the other day, the little hair-like plastics they got in the ocean? Right, microplastics. They could skim along the ocean and pick up, they said in so much space, they pick up with a screen, tons, 21 tons of microplastic just going around a few blocks. And the fish is eating the microplastic and dying of starvation because they think it's food. It's been happening. And they're not saying, well, we got to fix. If they came up and said, okay, we're going to nationalize this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. If you think staying at home the other day, we're going to take all the ships in the shipyard and we're going to put big nets to drag and clean up the ocean and we're going to do. If they said that, they would be talking about something. If they say we don't need no more production for another 10 years. We don't need no new cars, which we don't. We don't need no new cars. We don't need no more plastic. Finish. No more plastic. In fact, we're going to collect all the plastic we can and stack it up somewhere and put dirt on top of it and make a mountain out of it. And we're going to have them all over America. All the plastic, you know what I mean? We're going to cover it up with 20 feet of dirt or something. Stacked high as Empire State Building. We're going to make a mountain out of plastic, build mountains out of plastic, and plant trees and stuff, right? Because the stuff don't. One white boy at UC Berkeley, I was talking to him, he says, well, what difference does it make if you make, and he pointed to a white desk, kind of sure. You make that desk out of plastic or make it out of wood? I said, only thing, wood, you put it outside and let it stay there, it's going to decompose soon. I said, it's going to take 10,000 years, right, for that thing to decompose. That's what they were saying then. It may be more, maybe less. The point is, it's better to know where to go. It's better for us to know what we should do with our lives, what we should do as far as humanity is concerned. The new world that we should be working to make and fix, right? It's better to know where to go and not have all the facilities. They say, well, how are you going to do that? I say, I don't know, but I know that's where we ought to go. It's better to have that in your mind than to have the facilities to fix everything that's going wrong and not have the backbone or the brains to do it. You see what I mean? So it's all very simple. But anyway, these are all pictures of Hezbollah and people like that. But the point is, anybody ever heard of Sharpsville? Sharpsville, 1961 or 32, something like that, where they slaughtered all of those people. This is the Imam of Sharpsville. This is Rojni. I was so proud to be sitting in their little masjid, and he was talking about Zionism and all of those. I said, man, this is deep. You know, this is deep. And Sharpsville is right next to a town called Roshni. You know, anyway, let me get back to wherever it was that I was. Okay. So I opened up with the idea of we got to cut the cord, the umbilical cord to Washington, D.C. or to Sacramento in California. In other words, all the things that are wrong, we have to do them ourselves. And I call this family appeal because I'm reaching out to some of my family. And the first one I'll deal with is, well, she'll know who I'm talking to. She dealt with our house and property out there, Section 8. You know, it was on Section 8. And now it's a junkyard. It's a real junkyard. But it was 3 break-ins there. In the back, not in the front, in the back. Where I had my office, I had the library, had all the As-Sabiqun. It was a working office. Basically, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. I use the living room as an office, the bedroom to sleep, and the kitchen to cook. And so that was a real, that was a few, 7, 8, 9 years ago, during that period. But there were break-ins there, and when I would come, sometime the refrigerator would be full of meat. And of course, I'm a vegetarian. So what I'm saying is that my relative was cooperating with the United States government and have been for a long time. Not only one relative, almost all of my relatives. Because the government had when I was going through this stuff years ago, all of my family was right there with me. They would look at here. They'd hear something at the church. My sister would be right there. They'd trying to find me. One of the police at the church would have heard, the black police, they're just hiring a few black police, had been and heard something about me. And that police would tell my sister, that's the church they go to, Allen Temple. So they would be coming around, running to find me. In those days, and all my relatives know this, one day Chief Gain, that's the murdering police chief out there if you're in Oakland, and a red lieutenant, they came to the church. This is when there's a preacher that just came there in 1970, and now he has built a whole complex around there, but he don't know what to do. But anyway, he was a new preacher then. He was new at the church. So I was big up there on 85th. I mean, I was when I was doing the Godfather days. So the police chief was talking about, oh, we got to clean up Oakland and da-da-da-da. And they were saying, thank the Lord. That's right. And all of that. Then they said, the place we need to start is right up there on 85th. This is a block away. And then they mentioned my name. The church got quiet. Police didn't know what happened. They didn't say another word. And my mother wasn't there. See, we was heavy in the church, even now. So the police chief, when the police chief left, see, the only one that was still agreeing was the new preacher. He's big there, J. Alfred Smith, he's big now. Been big for decades. So he didn't know. So he kept, yes, Lord, and all of that stuff. So the rest of the people say, when the police chief left and the lieutenant, he said, don't you know who they talking about, Reverend Smith? That boy, and because I was a bad little boy in the neighborhood, not a mean little boy, but everybody liked me, but I just was, pulling girls' hair, anything, nothing harmful, So, he said, you know who he was talking about? That boy's family is all in this church. There's my mama, my niece, everybody was there, except my father, of course, me and my father. And I used to be there. I was going to get baptized when I was 12, and I snuck out the side door. But that's okay. That's okay, So we were well known in that, well known. So anyway, the preacher, he just didn't know. And I got arrested a few years back for nothing. And they couldn't arrest me for no crime. So it's called 5150. I don't know if they even have it in D.C. It's like they're arresting you. You're a danger to yourself. So the police arrested me, and they say, yeah, you're a danger to yourself. So you're going to go see John George. So I said, John George is dead. He was a black councilman like in Oakland. And they named the psychiatric ward in the hospital John George. It's still out there now. So they couldn't arrest me on anything physically. They say, you're a danger to yourself. So we're going to take you to see John George. That's the time they arrested me, and they brought the ambulance and locked me down in the, tie you up. And then they took my blood pressure. They said, your blood pressure is 275 over. I said, that's a damn lie. I said, if my blood pressure was 275, my eyes would be busting out, you know what I mean? I'd be, just said, it's not possible. But every time I got examined by them, or even here when I was arrested, they say the same thing. Your blood pressure is 275 over something or other. And then even, not to change the subject, but they arrested me and took me to John George. When I got to John George, I told, first of all, the guard down there, Imam Musa, da, 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 da. So I said, yeah. So then there was a lady, an old nurse there. I said, you know Reverend Smith? No, I said, what church do you go to? She said, I go to Allen Temple. I said, would you call Reverend J. Alfred Smith and tell him they got Miss Ream's boy up here at the, because they see me all the time. Like if we have a funeral for my relatives, we have it in the church. And they all, you know, that's the only time I see them and laugh and talk. But they respect what we're doing a lot. So anyway, I told the lady, would you call J. Alfred Smith, the biggest preacher in the region, and tell them they got Miss Ream's boy up here. And now to most people, it may not be much, but it's something. Anyway, my family in those days was all pro Imam Musa. They still are. But the government goes to all of them and give them a price for whatever they want. Like my great nephew, when he was doing this stuff right here, I think I might have told y'all something funny gonna happen or something like that. Of course it did. You know why? Because I know him. And I know that years ago, the government recruited him. How did I know they recruited him? I know because he was doing videos and stuff around the house, and all of a sudden, bam, he's in Atlanta doing the Keisha Cole show. Y'all remember the Keisha Cole? Y'all probably don't remember. Yeah, he's from Oakland, in Atlanta. That's maybe 10, 15, something like that. But that's big. So they didn't prepaid him. They didn't prepaid him. And then you know the behavior pattern. I'm not going to go over the distinct behavior pattern of each person. But in my family, there have been constant recurrences of things that I want to explain to them so they will know that I know where they're coming from, but hey, it's all right, because half the time it's been a help because I know where they're coming from. I use that. I use it all the time. You know, is a help, is an aid, it assists everything. For instance, remember when I was talking about Nafs Lawama, self-accusing spirit, the consciousness. And I was talking about when I went out of the country to, pick up a lot of money that was, from the old days. This is in '78. And when I was coming back in, they said, hey, you've been out playing ball again, huh? I said, no, absolutely, and I said it quickly. Because, see, I always use my brother's passport. He used to play baseball in Mexico and stuff like that when they didn't play up here, and they would get, that time $1,000 or $2,000. That was a lot of money back in those days. I said that on purpose. So when I went to jail, they arrested me under his name, and then they give me an OR, and I get right on out. Then I tell my brother that we got a case down in Florida. So he goes down there, and he goes right into court. I know what happened because, see, the marshal told me, he was laughing. He said, oh, you Reams. He said, man, your brother told the judge that wasn't him, that it was you. That was good. My brother didn't hurt me, he helped me, because I'm the one that put myself in jail at first. And I'm the one still, imagine, you done got out of the criminal thing, but by that time, see, you still get a taste. You know, if you're a drug user, they call it a yin. You get a drive to use again. You know, people relapse all the time. It's called a yin. That's what they use. So same thing with dealing. You know, it's harder to stop dealing drugs than it is to stop using drugs. Way harder. Because you're successful. You're getting a lot of money. You have power. You have all the women. In fact, and you're a pure capitalist. A big drug dealer, especially a nice guy like I was. No, I was a nice drug dealer. I didn't do nothing to nobody. And out of the biggest, strongest organization in Northern California, we never even beat nobody up. Can you imagine? Never even, they don't even do that stuff. People get power and they be beating up people's mama, be throwing them out of cars, man. They be throwing acid on them. And I would tell them, man, y'all is really stretching out. You know, all the youngsters that got into that, I said, man, y'all don't be jiving. I said, well, what did the people, the nigga owed me $50. I said, good God almighty, $50, man. Anyway, the point is that everything everybody did, it helped. And that's what I'm telling my brother right now, is that you don't have to have no, because see, they didn't know I knew. My father knew it, my nephew knew it, and they talked about it, but they didn't know that I knew what he had said. And the marshal told me when they snatched me up that, you know, your brother, he was laughing and it was a big joke. Yeah, man, your brother went into court, say, Your Honor, that ain't me, that's my brother. His name is such and such and such. And he didn't tell him exactly where I was at that time. But that's my brother. I had, it was 4 of us all together. The other 3 brothers referred to him, he's the only one still alive, as Kingfish. I don't know if y'all ever watch Amos and Andy. If you want to know my brother, that's him. We call him, that's like if we all together, we'd say, you seen the Kingfish today? You know, he's the Kingfish. That's the way he is. And everybody knows it ain't no bad thing. We just call it, a swindle, he will swindle you. He'll get you to buy $10,000 worth of stocks from a white man for him to get $500 on the side. It's just, he's Kingfish. You know, that's the way he does. He's always been like that. He's never not been like that. There's never a time. Now, brothers that are older, man, that's like, because I'm the youngest. Man, my big brother, our first car, a little 49 Ford, when my brother bought a new car, 59 Ford, he gave me the old car. Shoot, man, I was 17, riding around, You know, you could wear their clothes. You know, we was all kind of big. But if I wore some of my brothers that's a little older than me, you had to jump fences, running around, you know, and stuff. It's terrible. But that's my brother. I know how he is. We all know how he is. So he didn't hurt me, he helped me. That's what I'm telling him now. Same thing with my nephew. My nephew stayed at the masjid, 85 and around that period, and I told him, I said, all these people here is the police. And he was telling me, oh, maybe they're not. He was pretending to be trying to get over some drugs. But see, my nephew has a serious alcohol problem right now. very serious. He has that alcohol problem because when he was younger, I was his hero, and he feels like cooperating with the government, that's ruining his life. That's why I'm telling him right now. Forget it. I kind of told him, I said, you wearing yourself out for nothing. I'm fine. Everything that you did, it helped me because I knew from Jump Street where all of y'all was coming from. It's just automatic. If the government have so many choices, right? If you've been a target all your life, if you've been a payday, now remember, everybody in town can get, if they got a case, they can go say, man, Big Hank, cooperate, and they can get their case torn up. Easy, everybody can. Or if they need a few dollars, that's our relationship with the police department and with the FBI. It's been like that. It's nothing new. Everybody knows that I'm what you might call an all-day sucker. Everybody can get over on me as long as it's with the government. They can't get nothing with the people if they said, I'm going to cut Big Hank's throat. The people say, hey, man, what's wrong with you, nigga? But if it's the government, that's the way it is. I've known that so long it's been a shame. So I use all of that. That's strategic planning. I use all of that as a benefit. So same thing that I'm telling one of my relatives that's female. I know that she's the one that stacked all the refrigerator with meat and everything that I wouldn't want there. She's the one that unraveled all the Section 8 in the house, That's what she did, but that was good because I knew what was going on. They helped me trap the United States government, to trap Oakland. Imagine what Oakland looks like right now, just on the surface. The government done kicked me out of the masjid, right? I don't know, 7 or 8 times, with my name on the deed. And so, remember some of the nice pictures I have? All of this is good, and I'll tell you why later. This is good. To you, it wouldn't be good. The things that are happening that you see or me talk about, you wouldn't think they was good. To me, they're good. And I'll tell you why in a little while. This makes us a poster child. This is just last year. I'm arrested. Here's all the police. Here's the tattletale, Mukhtar, right here. Right? Here's the tattletale right here in the corner. You can see him. Everybody sees him. Now imagine, and he's doing it just out in the open, like I just want to do that. I want you to be mad. Well, I was taking a bath. Actually, technically, I was taking an enema. And I told the police, I came in, I'm naked in the masjid. You can see I have my clothes hanging all off. I had to tell them, I got in the bathroom and closed the door. Why? Because I'm taking the enema, and I'm not going to have you putting handcuffs on me and me doo-dooing all over the place. That's why I'm like that. And that's why this dummy is standing there in the picture. It's worse than that. Here's his name. Remember we was talking about that big, beautiful piece of property? This is 2016. He sells the property. He signs it. CEO Mukhtar Ali Mujahid. That's what he signs it. He don't have the right to sell that property. He has no right to sell that property. He signs it again. Masjid al-Islam Incorporated, nonprofit. Mukhtar Ali Mujahid, president and CEO. He writes that on there because you can go down to the state capitol and you can just fill out a piece of paper and it says this is the board of directors. And you just show your ID and you put the board of directors on there and they give you a stamped seal thing. And he takes that stamped seal and takes it everywhere. Like he's not the president or the CEO. Everything on the paperwork has my name on it. Everything. Articles of incorporation, right, the federal tax ID number, all of that, right? But he'll take that one piece of paper. I haven't even cleared this up yet. I'll clear it up when I get ready. Because they ain't running nothing. You'll get to the point in a little while, they not running nothing. We are running our own business, right? That's where we are as a community right now. Boss man is not running nothing. That's the point that I'm making with all of my relatives and everybody. I know why y'all did what you did. I already know why they did what they did. And if you mess around long enough, you know, everybody will, let me see something. Well, this is the Last Poets, a long time ago, 1982. Y'all remember the Last Poets? Okay, good. That's when we had them out there at UC Berkeley. That's some of the last programs then. Now suppose you here with the Rothbard, the head of the Islamic Republic and all other big time ulama around and stuff like that. That's the most hated man in the United States. Not only him, but President Ahmadinejad and all of them people, right? So you have to understand what you're going to be up against before you come up against it. In other words, if God gives you the time, you can analyze what am I doing and what is going to, remember we had lessons on anticipation? You anticipate what you're going to be up against. So it's funny. Y'all probably seen this 1,000 times. This is my dear son. He was shot 7 times and stabbed 3 times. But they didn't have no yellow tape. They didn't do nothing. They didn't even interview him. Just laid up there in the hospital, and I asked the doctor, I said, just acted colored like I don't know nothing. Did y'all turn the bullets over that you took out? Because she was saying, yeah, he had 7 bullets, and they missed all the vital organs, and it was just a perfect shooting almost. That's almost what she was saying. And it didn't hit no vital organs. And I said, well, what did you do with the bullets? Did you turn them over for ballistics? Which you got to, right? You got to do that. That's the law. No. I said, and then I asked a few more questions, and I know that the police done arranged that. So suppose you're my son, and you know that technically your life is in danger. It has been in danger. Look, for a long time. Imagine a father at about 80. Let's say we started making these serious moves, say that was 81, 85. And you pray to Allah to keep your sons alive till they old enough to know what's going on. And they do. One will be 55 next month. He'll be 55 years old. This one will be 55. The other one will be 52. Right? That's what I prayed for. Oh, Allah, keep them alive long enough. I didn't pray for them to do this, get a new house. I didn't pray for that. I prayed for them because I'm not a young parent, but I'm a middle-aged parent at that time. And you automatically worry about your kids, you know. And we would stay at the masjid. I wouldn't go to sleep till they came in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Whenever they got there, then I'd go to sleep. You know, just like a mother do. If the kids is not home yet, they don't even go to sleep. They just be half asleep, getting a couple of winks. Then when they come in, off to sleep they go. This is normal. So my view of the whole thing was this. All of these guys, they came up during the 80s and the 90s. Do you know how many Negroes from that era is left? All their friends, both of them, got photo albums of dead people. All the little kids that went to, like we took them to Angel Island in the 6th grade graduation. I said, what happened to the little boy that had the nice natural, used to turn flips? I got pictures. So he's been dead a long time. What about so-and-so? All the kids, they're all dead. All from Oakland. Oakland is like D.C., you know what I mean? Imagine all the signs you used to see all around here, rest in peace, the little Coke bottles and beer bottles there with flowers, right? Used to be everywhere. And rest in peace, so-and-so. Goodbye, Johnny boy, all that stuff, everywhere. So I prayed that they live long enough, and they have. Of course, I gave a khutbah, and I told them that Allah had kept you alive all this time, and now it's time for you to do something about it. They haven't got that far yet, but they still alive. If something happened, I didn't got what I prayed for. They didn't outlive all their homeboys by 25 years. Finished. I got exactly what I prayed for. I had a call the other day, your son, he won't do this, that, and that, and he's at the house. I said, anyway, I said a lot of things. How to punk the FBI. This is big. This is big. This is important. Because with all of this, remember what we said the other day. Where we want to go and what we want to do. We have already done that, and now we're getting ready to go to another level. Y'all remember the story about Belle the cat? All animals got together, and the side of this cat, this lion, a tiger, is eating up all of us. What are we going to do? This is a board meeting the animals had. They said, well, they went over this issue, that issue. So I tell you what we'll do, you know, like a cowbell, we'll put a bell around the cat, the lion or the tiger. So when he come up on us, we can hear a mile away, ring, right? They all agreed, this is a good idea. They said, now, who's gonna bell the cat? Who's going to put that thing around the cat's neck, right? That's us. The white man done killed and devoured everybody. He done knocked niggas over like they don't even exist, right? And we walk right up to him and just say, yeah, you're just an old punk, sucker. How many niggas you saw just punk the FBI? And go down to the FBI building and pass it out. That's our mission. That's what we've been going through, because we're going to have a rebellion, we're going to have a struggle. We got to convince people that it's possible to do it. That's where it all starts. If they don't think they can do it, they ain't going to do it. So somebody has to live through all of this garbage. So everybody that did anything, they helped, and we knew what they was doing all along. We're not going to even go through everything. And if Iranians put something in the newspaper and it said, Walayati Faqih, you know, what the system over there, is a defense against global fitna. This is what this says. And it's all organized, real nice, this section, that section, and I'm telling them, this is what you need to do. Iran has to figure out where it wants to go. Okay? So they have to have a unified mission. a unified vision where it wants to go as a country. That's what this article is about. It's on the front page of an Iranian newspaper. Their most political, that might as well be the Washington Post or something like that. It's on their most political newspaper. So what do you think boss man here is going to do with a Negro? And they done took Iran 2 times this week to the UN, and they got slapped upside the head. Bam! Bell the cat. That's what we've been working on that all the time, and that's what we've done. We've done our job. All of this stuff shows, and everything they do so-called to us, they're not doing anything to us, they're doing it for us. Because all this will go very public. We'll go deal with it in court when we get ready. We'll do it when we get ready. We'll do it how we get ready. Right? They're doing stuff right now, like I said, I got a phone call. They want me to hurry up back to Oakland to do something. I'll go back to Oakland when I get ready. And when I go into court, I'm going to tell them the same thing I'm telling you. Y'all as children. Y'all as little children playing this little stuff. You know, I didn't beat this case a long time ago. What are you doing allowing these dummies here? That's the way I'm going to talk basically like that. But it's going to be more fun, like I'm not going to call them you a dummy, but that's what it'll mean. You know, I'm going to make fun of the district attorney. I'm going to make fun of the whole court. And then they say, they have a thing that they say, anyone that has a self for a lawyer has a fool for an attorney. I say, any nigga that think he going to get, if 95% of the people go to jail for, plea bargain and all of that, and ain't did nothing in the first place, 80% of the people was walking down the street, right? Or the other 80%, you just patted them down and found some marijuana. Well, if you'd have left them alone, you wouldn't have found the marijuana. But he ain't gonna take it to court and on illegal search and seizures and all that. He gonna take the plea because he said, I'm guilty, I had a little weed on me, right? White folks ain't gonna take that. They're gonna say, you're crazy. They're gonna go to court and they're gonna win. Bell the cat, we've done that. We planned that. We're living the life. This is what I want everybody to understand. This is not miserable, this is fun. Just like the way I'm acting, that's the way I feel, right? This is fun. And it happened this way because out of selecting all the methods of dealing with this monster, this appears to be the best. Clown that fool, make a fool out of him. And nowadays, you don't have to clown them. They do it as self-clowning. You got a self-clowning institution, right? It clowns itself. Oh, Don, I know they're making all of this stuff up, but I was sitting there last night. I said, well, it's about time to go to bed. Then something come on. Don's sister that's older than him, that's a federal judge. She just retired. She's talking on the phone. Don is mean, he's miserable, he did this, he doesn't care about anything. That's his sister, a federal judge. She got to have some sense to sit on the federal bench. And that was just a few minutes of it. So Don, remember we had the program on crisis management? The cookbook crisis. In a crisis is what you do. Well, what do you do with buffoonerized management? What do you do when you have a clowning, self-clowning system that don't make no sense at all, right? What about when you have a president that you can't make him do right? You can't, he will not come to it. That's why I think somebody hired him. In fact, I know somebody hired him. But it might have been the shaitan hired him to get this across, and he didn't make it. Hitlerianism. Don said, these people are such a big fool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the military, I'm going to get that, and what happened? A month and a half ago, all the military come out, even Colin Powell, all of them said no, and they came out against him. That was great. You know why? Because that means that he's failed on the military aspect. The next thing, all these troublemakers and all the mayors said, we don't want you here, right? We don't want your federal people here. You don't have no right here. And so they have to leave, right? Martial law. Finished. Even messing with Iran so long, they passed something, they might have took it back, that you can't go to war with Iran unless you have some. Do you remember they did that? You can't fight Iran unless you come to us and get it, because you didn't mess with them so much that it's clear where you trying to go with that. And all their friends, they didn't try to trap Iran here. Iran went to one thing last week, and I saw the Iranian ambassador yesterday or the day before. They laugh them out of the UN. Well, we want to snap back. They say you can't have a snap back. You can't get out of the thing and then say you want to put in place some part of that treaty that you done backed out of yourself. You can't do it. And all of them saying that. That's what they're all saying. Do you know how much damage that this boy done to U.S. prestige abroad? It don't exist anymore. Now, that's one of the things about what I'm saying. I'm going to skip a lot. The point I'm making about friends and family is this an appeal to you to come out now and participate in this program. See, the thing about my family, they all know me. They was in Oakland when all this stuff was happening, and they know. My family knows basically who I am, just like all the, okay. So now, this is a family appeal. This is a family appeal that we use our family history in a whole package of things that we've been gifted with. They don't pay no attention to them, but I pay very close attention to them. Remember, I was talking about I guess it's my super great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. His name was Wash Reams. He died in 1906. He was 106 years old. My father was born in 1900, right? So he knew him. And you know how little kids would sit and listen to the old people? Man, I got relatives that was picking cotton till they was 106 years old. And one is sitting right here, I got it on the tape. He got married at 103. I said, well, what, I was talking to my father this back in 80. I said, well, what was he? He said, he's doing what everybody else do. I said, because I asked him, I said, at what year did people kind of stop working? So he was talking about Uncle so-and-so. He got married at 103, and he was picking cotton up till he was 106 years old. But that's what they was doing. What else he was going to do? Retire? You ever heard of old people retire? No. Okay. Now, he was talking about the relatives that was born, and so-and-so died in 1926 at 96. But, okay. We was talking about Vicksburg. Y'all ever heard of Vicksburg, Mississippi? That was a big battle. Let me see. U.S. Grant Y'all remember hearing about General Grant, right? Okay. Grant captured Vicksburg in 1863. And a lot of those, my father would tell me, yeah, all the old people is around. Remember, he's a little kid. He's born in 1900. My aunt is born, my Aunt Dell is born in 1898. My grandmother was born in 1872, which I knew. You know, so although I'm 75, I'm the youngest. So all the people that lived a long time, it's almost like I know people. Okay. Y'all ever see Band of Angels with Clark Gable? Anybody ever see that? It's about slavery time. In fact, I'll give y'all a copy. You might like that. It's about a white girl that's her mama was black and she looks white and all that stuff. Not imitation of life, but that same type of thing. But it's during the Civil War period. And that dialogue in there is so modern about slavery and slaves being packed like sardines. And then it came out in 1957. That happens to be the time when we went back to Arkansas. So when we go back to Arkansas on Route 66, they'd stop in Oklahoma. And people would tell us, okay, you're going back down there. Y'all was too young to remember. All that SHIT y'all do with white folks out there, you can't do it down here. They stop on the side of the highway in Oklahoma. So as soon as we get over there, that's Texas. And then that's Arkansas. No, they really would do that. You can't, you know, like they tell the kids about if you say to the police, keep your hands on the wheel, right? And just don't move and all of that stuff. Well, imagine what they told us back then about going, because if they come to lynch you, ain't nothing you can do about it. And we out there fighting white kids, beating them upside the head, you know, because we're in California. You could do that out there. So they stop and they telling us, you can't do that, period. There ain't nothing we can do. We can't do nothing, you know, because they've been down there all their life. So they ingrained with Southernism. So, no, that was the whole thing, that they instructed us on our behavior. But let me see, I'm looking for a picture here, and I might have it. That's a good picture of Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui right there. There's a picture of the chief. Anybody ever see this one? This is Imam Muhammad when we in Iran one time. Yeah, that's the chief. That's Imam Yassin Abu Bakr. You know the rebellion down in Trinidad. Yep. His son used to go to Howard. Yep. Okay. This is tons of Negroes from here and Oakland. Where they all at now? That's a question. Where are all they at? Where's all the... Remember when we would pack up and go up to New York and help Siraj with them big programs he would be having? That's the first time I saw his homeboy. The guy was wearing Murder Ones and up to Murder One sunglasses. And he was telling people Siraj had one fundraiser and it went off pretty well, so he had another one, but it's at Madison Square Garden. You remember the cost? Do you have an idea about what they said the cost was? For the place itself, it was $307,000. For the electricity, it was $21,000. It comes out to over $400,000. So he got his money started after he get to $400,000. And if I would have signed that contract, I'd have just said, if y'all white folks think I'm going to give you $400,000, you're crazy. In fact, it's so much, I'm not going to pay you nothing. I'm going to Mexico. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay them. Can you imagine? You got to ask the Muslims. Don't have it in a big high school or some college dormitory thing that they used to have, right? Yes, in Madison Square Garden. We go up there, we're helping with security and all of that. And remember when Hamza Youssef walked in? Okay. He's here, everybody. He's in the house. Hamza Youssef, the white boy. He's here. No, he's at the airport. He'll be here in a minute. And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, he's here. I said, man, this is pitiful. And these is grown Negroes, too. And they should know better than worshiping white folks in front of, just like they. And then got all other Negroes, he's here. It's pitiful. And then people wonder why we don't cooperate with them Negroes anymore. Because they're crazy. They're literally crazy. And then all this stuff that be happening to us, you can't find one Negro that gave us a phone call out of all this stuff. And this is just nothing. It's not really. Not one phone call from all them Negroes, from New York to Brooklyn to all around here. And everything they do is not hitting right. The little girl over in Virginia, remember a couple of years ago, Ramadan, she gets killed. They do martial arts over there. Why in the hell? Why do all the boys run away and leave the girl to get beat in the head by a Latino? That's crazy, right? Why they don't know nothing about Islam? The boys, you're going to stay, men are the protectors and maintainers of women. You can't run and you a boy and lead a girl there to get beat to death. It ain't no big deal, they're just sad, right? At Dar al-Hijra, when my grandson was 15, he was over there hanging with a whole group of kids. And some Latino kids came by with bicycles. And the kids from Dar al-Hijra said, those are our bicycles. So my grandson said, they're your bicycles? What they doing with them? They took them from us. He went over by himself and took the bicycles back to y'all, look at it. And then the people over at Dar al-Hijra, you know, the one that used to wear a piece on his side, your grandson is very brave. I said, he ain't brave. Ain't nobody gonna let you come and, you can't raise your kids like that here in America, right? That's what they do. That's why don't none of them call here. Don't none of them come by, hey man, you would think that we have a werewolf show over here or something. I don't know, what's them zombie people that you shoot up and they keep on coming and, you know, they do all kind of stuff. They must have told them that because they don't, nobody, the Negroes don't come by. Nobody. Except the brother left some of those tuna. Anybody wants some of them boxes? Tuna can have a box of tuna when they leave. Other than that, they ain't coming by for nothing else. Okay. So, by the way, this is just pictures of one of the properties. Man, one of the properties, this is how nice it was. Inside this one corner, this other. All these are different rooms in the same places. You can't see much of it. But that's, now Mukhtar sold the building, but Mukhtar ain't did none of that work. And that's only 20% of the building. That's only 20% of the building. We'll use the building later. just so you get comfortable, take it easy. We're going to sue the government out there, plus the bank, for $100 million. You say, you're not going to get that. We don't care what we get. We're going to sue them for it anyway. Because they done violated every right in the book. They ain't had no right to do none of this. They haven't had no right to do none of this. And back to the family thing. See, my family don't have when they see things in the society, they don't see them the same way I do. Like, y'all see the thing, what was that, the Negroes that was chopping all the white folks up in 1838, 1837? Which one? Nat Turner, yeah. So, you know, in Nat Turner, they had a little boy that told on him. But then when you see his picture, it morphs into the Civil War, right? And he morphs into a soldier. Well, with my family, it was several of my great uncles. One's born the year the stars fell, 1831. Another one was 1837. See, my great, this guy, Wash Reams, was a stud on the plantation. That's why we know, that's why he was a stud on the plantation. And he wasn't interested in no Civil War because he had a good job. And he was 65. He was 60 years old by then. But the young guys, all of them in their 30s, they morphed into, that's what I was trying to tell you about the Battle of Vicksburg. My father kept telling me that Vicksburg, he said the people swam the Mississippi River 3 times. So I was just saying, yeah. He said, yeah, and you know the niggers with them bayonets, they was sticking white folks, you know, when you're pitching hay, sticking them white folks, he said they was pitching them like hay. And you can imagine they was all strong because that's all they did was work. He said, and then I was coming from Louisiana, going into Mississippi, and you know where the river runs like a S in some places? So it said, Mississippi River. I drive a little while longer. Mississippi River. And then before I get to Vicksburg, it says Mississippi River again. And then it all came back. And then all the stuff that I have on tape, this stuff I wrote, I got on tape. And it was a whole group of them soldiers used to be around. The ones that survived this Vicksburg, because see, they also had to build rafts. In fact, you just watch television. You watch what they say about the Negro soldiers that was fighting with Grant. First of all, they're going to say that they lost 70% of them. But the ones that lived, they had a pension. They got a pension. And remember, I was telling, from reading my notes, I was telling my nephew, great nephew, I said, yeah, do you remember Aunt Dale? He said, yeah, I stayed with her for a long time. Remember, she's born in 1898. He says, and I'm telling my niece right now, if you can go get in touch with our relatives in St. Louis, where Aunt Dale is from, and I forgot all about it, but my father said that my Aunt Dale had what he was saying, Grandpa's release papers from the Army and his bayonet, you know. So just think, how many Negroes, they got their grandparents, great, right, release papers, because see, they got a pension. The ones that was in the Army and run off, they didn't get no pension. You know, But the ones that stayed and fought and they got released, they gave them a letter, and so they got a pension. So all the Negroes, when I went back in '57, I asked my grandmother, born in 1872, I said, "Grandmama, was you a slave?" Because that's what that movie was about. Excuse me for skipping. Clark Gable, 1957, Band of Angels. It was about black troops that fought with part of it was. So I said, "Was you a slave?" She said, "No, but old man so-and-so was." You got to remember, in 1945, when I was born, everybody over 80 years old was born in slavery. Think about that. Everybody was born, 35 years, 1865, 1900, 1945, that's 80 years, right? Everybody over 80 years. So she said, "No, I was born after slavery, but old Mr. So-and-so was born in slavery, but he was a little kid." So now old Miss So-and-so, she was born up in slavery. That means she was 10 or 15 years old. She was you know what I mean? She knew what she worked in slavery because she was born up in slavery. I'm trying to tell you that everything I'm telling y'all about, this is the reason that you don't have to worry about me buckling or giving up or changing over to the other side. Because all of this stuff that we have information about, this is one of my older brothers. This is Johnny Bethia, the guy I was asking you about. He carried a shotgun. But these people are tattletales, some of them. You know why? When I got my brother to join our organization, and he was over in a house, all of a sudden, the police raid the house. They don't raid no other houses. You know, even in all this stuff I did in Oakland, I'm the only one that ever went to jail. Ain't nobody, can you imagine? Nobody else ever went to jail except my brother, because they didn't want my brother to be close to me. And by the way, he's the one that rented the first masjid on East 14th for us, and he died of cancer and when he was in his 30s or 40s, something like that. Why he died of cancer, I don't know. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the smell of it because he was the one that was close to me. They didn't want me to have nobody close to me in Jahiliyyah, and they definitely didn't want nobody close to me in this move right here. So to me, it's all one big happy together. Okay, all right. Assalamu alaikum. This is a picture of my dear grandmother, not on my father's side. You could tell that she was a half-breed, Indian. Well, this is what she looks like, All of my people on that side look like her. And that dress that they was wearing, half-breeds wore them kind of dresses back in the early 1900s. Anyway, the Civil War period, we were well represented in all of this period. And this is what I'm trying to tell my family. But now it's time for y'all to set all that aside. Number one, my nephew, don't punish yourself thinking you did something to hurt me. He didn't. So you don't have to punish yourself, because I knew they would come to him eventually. I just knew that. Number one, I think his father was an MP, a shore patrol. But he was, I think, an MP in the Army, and he worked for the Federal Bureau of Prisons out there. And so they're going to come to him. My niece was educated. My niece, in fact, took me to the courthouse when I was going to turn myself in 1973 in San Francisco, and they didn't have, it wasn't even open, and they didn't have a jail over on Golden Gate Avenue. So the guy at the door told me, no, we can't take you here. You can't imagine how hard it was to leave there and to go down to LA and to really turn yourself in. Because I didn't turn myself in until I had outgrown the love for America. So anyway, the next thing I'm gonna do it brief, and I don't want to keep y'all. So it'll be a little disjointed. Number one, we talked about 300 extra FBI surplus FBI agents for Negroes, right? Okay. So if I was addressing gangs and other people, I would tell them that you're at the bottom of the barrel. I said that the USA have committed genocide on your parents and grandparents. Genocide in the movement. You know what it said in the COINTEL program, number 2 or number 1, to prevent unity. You know, if black nationalists unified, it could be a real Mau Mau, right, in America. That's what they said. So you got to remember, the federal government, the state government, the government of the United States of America has made black men, what we all know, persona non grata, and they blame everything on the Negro. Everything. Now here's what we're gonna suggest, dear Negroes, and we're gonna suggest the same thing to everybody else. For instance, all groups should evolve to a higher level of organization. Organizational structure, you could get them you could get military manuals in any surplus store. They're about 20 pages, 25 pages, just regular military structure. But that's what everybody should do, or could do. I would suggest you do it, but you could do that. Then all of your arguments with each other have in each city a citywide organization where you meet from time to time to iron out all citywide problems. In other words, especially in places like Chicago and even DC, is a new rule: no Negroes killing Negroes. None. Here's why. Now, I know that's going to be hard, but even if you get to be 65, 70, if you get 80%, you'll be doing good. That'll be good. You may make it to 100. No blacks fight each other, no blacks kill each other. And anytime anything develop out of territorial or da-da-da-da-da, bam, you discuss it so that you will have a unified approach. The next thing is, whatever you're doing, you can improve your quality, you can improve your price, and you could improve the size of your packages on anything you do if you send scouts. You send simple scouts. If you got a cousin that goes to the University of California or Prince George or something, it don't make a difference. You have that person go, I'm not saying that you do this stuff, You go with a guy that speaks Spanish, and you go and visit Mexico. See, when you get organized, you're organized. You're not by yourself. You are organized now. And an organization have funds for certain things. So you want super quality, super price. Well, the only way you're going to get super quality, super price is your buying power. You buy organizationally instead of individually. And the more people you get in that buying pool, first it'll be a little hard, but after people see where you're rolling, you say, hey, I can cut y'all into this. Like, of course, you may cut them in at 50% of quality and all that, but it'll be 200% better than what they've been getting, right? You're just going to charge them a little bit for not getting in on the ground floor, which they deserve. If they got in on the ground floor, they get the same thing you do. But you just send down to Mexico. They're tourists. They go down, and they're looking for people, and they got a platform. Well, we have a distribution network there. This is what we're trying to do. Can y'all help? You're not going to just say to the people in the street, can y'all help? But you'll find people in certain places. Everybody got a cousin. If you go to Culiacan, somebody got a cousin or a mama or a brother that they do all of that. And they'll pipe you in. And if they can't handle the weight, they'll pipe you into, you have to be careful because some of those places now, the organizations are at war with the government and of Mexico. And they're not winning all the time, but they just about, the government has no, there are places in the world where you turn the coolness on. There's a place where the government don't run things anymore, right? You go there, you send people there. You send scouts, they scout out everything, and they organize, and you, pretty soon you getting super quality, super price, and all that. Pretty soon, you don't have to argue with the police, you can buy the police. That's what that's what big folks do. You're going to argue with the police, or you're going to buy them. If you organize, got quality, what you're doing, everything improves for everybody. Right now, you're getting what falls off the table because you don't have no contact on nothing. Everybody's telling you what to do. And when you get anything, it's already chopped all up. Even in those days, one thing I found out, if you wanted good weeds, you didn't get it from no Negroes, you got it from white folks. If you wanted really kilos of weed, 2.2 pounds, big stacks like that, you had to get it from white boys because Negroes would cut them in half and you'd be getting a pound. And they'd pour molasses or something in it to put weight on it. They'd be dripping all out of the thing. That's the way Negroes do. Start buying from white boys, look at the size of that thing. It's twice as big and half the price. Good God Almighty. You're on a roll, I'm telling you. All right. So, try it. The other thing about so-called OGs, original gangsters, they don't call everybody OG out here, but in California, AOG, instead of original gangsters, they're probably old goons. But become an original gangster, even if you're doing a lot of time in prison. In prison, prisons should be place of relaxation and what have you. If you got everybody in prison fighting each other, that's stupid. What do you have in common with Latinos? The police is keeping us in prison, right? It ain't no nigga got you in the penitentiary. Well, unless he's a coon, but that's the one thing I want to say. Now, they have the system so saturated with Negroes, you can't get no sympathy from Negroes. Guards, police, nothing. All the people, so we're going to get in the system and do what? We're going to change the system from the inside. That is bull crap. They got the Negro lady, the Indian Negro lady from Oakland talking about she was part of the civil rights movement in Oakland. Her mama and them. Now, I ain't never heard of her mama and them, but that's what we did in Oakland. I ain't seen their mama. I ain't heard their mama. I don't know no mama. And that woman, if your kid didn't show up at school, she had a rule, state attorney general court, to put your behind in the penitentiary. Because your kid didn't come. Now, who's going to tell their kid in high school, you got to be in school, you got to walk and hold their hand? They going where they want, right? She had a rule to put, did you know, to put the niggas and the parents in it. If your kid don't go to school, and now she sitting up there running for, I'm just as civil rights as I can be. I just love everybody. Long as you trust them niggas, you'll be sad, you'll be broke, and you'll be stupid. Right? We done had 50 or 60 years to change the system from the inside, and it haven't happened. No system, nowhere, at no time. The system changed everybody all the time, anytime. It ain't nobody in the system. It ain't no judge. If the Negro judge, he gonna give you the same time as the white judge, maybe more. But if what judge don't know that he's working in a criminal system, unless he's stupid, unless she's stupid. And girls, the same thing. We would need more women to fix. Well, hell, you got 500,000 women already in the government, and they still, we want to go to a war, we're going to get those Chinamans, right? The same old dumb line. They're the communist Chinese, the red Chinese, might as well call them red Chinamans. They don't technically, but the Chinese Communist Party. The women, the system ain't going to let you change it, it's going to change you. You can be a girl, a boy, or in between. It don't make no difference, right? This is what I'm telling y'all. Young Negroes, same thing with Mexicans and everybody else. Your house is a prison house. You have to make it comfortable in that penitentiary. Yes, you do. How you gonna be comfortable? By getting along with everybody in there. Same thing like Negroes have a consul out here, you have a consul in there. It's kind of like we used to, but it has to be developed. That mean, don't no Negroes kill no white boy, lest they get, of course you don't kill nobody, let me reframe that. Anyway, when they have consuls in prison, everything is sanctioned, right? If somebody want to do something to somebody, they go say, well, that's a white boy, and we want to do something to him. And the white boy said, well, we'll take care of it. They take care of it. You maybe give them a box of cigarettes. Of course, they don't even have cigarettes in the pen. I don't know how all them niggas in the penitentiary, because everybody in the pen smoke. I don't know why. They probably nervous and paranoid and everything. Anyway, the prison house has to be comfortable. You can't be comfortable in there if y'all got all them gang tattoos. The police know who you are because you got a damn thing say gang number 1. then this dummy have gang number 2. And guess what? You have Mexican Mafia, La Familia, M&Ms they used to call them, and y'all killing each other. The dumbest thing is for a nigga to kill another nigga for no reason, and a Mexican to kill another Mexican. Do you know that Mexicans eat the same food? Yes, they do. They have the same names. They do. They have the same name. Half of y'all from the same place. Your grandparents came from the same place, right? And you're going to kill another Mexican. That is stupid. And I ain't against y'all, but MS-13, y'all got to put on some good behavior. Because the white man is gonna kill everybody else because you going around beating up somebody and hanging somebody upside down. Give people a moratorium, a 2-year moratorium. We just gonna let everybody go. Be on good behavior for a while, especially right now when they got this doggone election coming up, right? Chicago Negroes, special peace day, a peace month. No, peace time. LA, all of those places, you should have gang council, gang meetings, gang everything. And if each one of you is a big organization, you should do the same thing we said. You send out scouts and you improve. If you don't improve, you're going to be the bottom of the barrel. Or let's state it as it is. You are the bottom of the barrel. Yes, you are. You're not needed anymore. Police had already wiped everything. That's why they put all of you in the penitentiary. Why? They didn't do that years ago. Drug crimes were small crimes. Well, way back when, it was big crimes. Then it came that period when in the 70s, when they needed niggas to sell dope and everything. See, the police is the ones started me to sell dope. Yes, they did. I'm going to tell you their names and everything else next time I'm here. They started me to selling dope. My friend, then when they get tired of me, they think, when they realize that, oh, this nigga is not just selling dope. He's having a, what do we call it? Economic, what's some programs they have? East Oakland Enterprise, economic enterprise zone. So you remember this? This look gets you killed. I done showed you this before. This is Huey Newey buttons, Huey, Free Huey. This is what this is. Black leather jacket, stingy brim, all that. That look gets you killed. Now, if you want to fool the white man, here's what you do. This stuff here, it fools boss man. It fools him. It make him think that you are a clown nigga and you just gonna buy pretty cars. You're gonna do that for a while, then you're gonna go broke. They're gonna drag you down the street. You're not gonna go broke. They're gonna drag you down the street and behind their chariot, like they did in the old days. And they tell everybody, there's your hero. They done that all our life. There's your hero. I disagreed with that. That's why I run off. I said, boss man, I'm not going to get behind your chariot and let you drag me nowhere. And therefore, I have a plan to move from this is only a little while later, to this. You didn't see the one with the white stuff on. Then boss man found out that, that this stuff right here was a sham. This is pre-supervised, maybe a couple of years. They're sharp. But that's a disguise. That's a disguise. I like disguises. This is a disguise. Then when the white man figured out that the nigger is circulating money, when they looked at what I was doing, first they just saw, yeah, look at that nigga, doing good, driving up and down, great. Then when he realized that we hired, people that did some count somewhere, that we hired more people than the city of Oakland. We circulated money in the community. That's what y'all ought to do. Instead of buying too many gold chains, just have a 5-year plan. Say we're just gonna relax for 5 years, you're gonna be under, as they used to call it. You ain't gonna be showing off. This is just regular rules. You're gonna be under. Gonna get better contacts, better connections, and you're gonna get more respect. When you get disciplined and organized, everybody is gonna respect you more. The police is gonna respect you more, because instead of them beating you upside the head and blaming all the killings on you, you ain't gonna be killing nobody. And you're gonna be paying him off, giving him his little cut, right? And he'll go on back to his little white family somewhere, or Negro family. So, and then, don't worry later on. Later on, we'll get into real big-time transformation. But legally, there's things that you can do legally. Now, here's when you got to get yourself enough money and get it put away, because then you're going to start a legalization program of drugs. And I know some of you ain't going to like it, because you say, we get all our money. So, legalization of drugs, all of them. But if you got enough big money, you can sell illegal dope too. You notice in marijuana, all the white guys, that's a shame. The niggas, they put us in jail for selling smoke, and now the white folks can do it legally. This is ridiculous. I'm telling you, you plan it right, and you have big money and big lawyers, and then when they change the law and make dope legal, you can sell legal dope. Yes, you can. I'm telling you. You sell legal dope, all of it. Whatever it is, don't make no difference if it's cocaine or opiates. You're going to try to get it all legal. But you're going to be big enough to lock yourself in. This is called planning ahead, that we want to move step by step. First, we want to get big. How you going to get big? You're going to get big by not fighting each other, not arguing with each other, and getting bigger packages, better quality, and all of that. It's simple, it's all simple. All you do is follow the prescription. You can't lose. Now, I don't want none of y'all get all hooked up in RICO and all that, but you got to use a little care here and there. You know what I mean? You do that, you're going to be happier, you're going to be healthier. And if you don't, you'll still be in jail and you'll still be black. Now, there's nothing you can do about being black part. There's nothing you can do about it. But you don't worry, though. Your children are going to lighten up. You see all how light, niggas used to be black in slavery. He ain't black no more, even me. I'm still just dark brown. Everybody, Negroes lighting up. Do you know the fastest group of growing people in America is mixed race? Now, you don't see it much here, but in California, you see what the TV look like, right? You would think there's no more Shinolas, not one left. Last one or two, him and me, that's all. Ain't no more other Shinolas. Ain't no more Shinolas. No, they'll be gone. They'll be damn near extinct in a minute. I'm telling you the truth. And you got to do it fast, because there's another thing. Teen pregnancy used to be big around here. Have anybody seen any babies lately? Lucy? What happened to them? I don't know. 20 years ago was not teen pregnancy. Babies having babies was the biggest issue. Where are they at? You seen any babies going down the street that people carrying babies or pushing them? Any? Have you seen at the grocery store or anywhere count the number of people that have babies? I don't know whether they put it in the water. I don't know whether you're smoking it. I don't know how it's getting into you, but you ain't having no more babies, child. Not us. Latinos are still having a few, but they're going to get the same thing. If they come after us first, then they're going to come after you. And back to dear Latinos, I'm going to close with this, but not that the Treaty of Hidalgo, you know, when them people from America hit Mexico, they went and captured Mexico City. And the only reason that they didn't keep the whole thing because it would be too many non-Europeans. So they said, well, we'll just keep Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, right? California, Nevada, Colorado, 1/4. Do you know they stole that from Mexico? They just took it. Yeah, we just taking this. Now, take it easy. What goes around comes around. Reconquista, I know y'all know what that means. The reconquest, that has happened already. You already got boss man in numbers. Don't worry about it, just keep having a few more babies. You're gonna have boss man in numbers, but numbers won't do it. 2% of the population can control millions of people. They do it already, right? So it's not the numbers, it's the organization, it's the structure that you have. Therefore, we unify on the basis of what's good for us. Unity is good for us out here in society. Unity is good for people in prison, right? Suppose you walking up and down the hallway and you scared somebody that speaks Spanish gonna cut your throat. Well, you're uncomfortable, right? Suppose ain't none of that going on, and you can stroll up and down the hallway. You don't have to worry about getting caught in a corner or by yourself, right? So why would we help the system by fighting each other? It's like in the world. Look at the world. The people keep me and you fighting. Arab fighting Arab, and what? They collect all the money. I'm gonna redo this thing because I don't think I did a good job. But y'all got the idea. So I'll repeat the same subject, but I'll have it a little bit more organized and not so much to do. I'm gonna repeat this. This was family appeal, but really is human appeal. We got to get busy and knock boss man off and I'm not saying go after boss man, I'm not talking about that. But we have to, somebody asked me overseas about, well, what about these people, that people? I said, that ain't gonna work. That's crazy. But there's a few things that's not crazy. You get power and learn how to use it. You do it. And I want everybody to copy what I just said and either write it and send it to your cousin in the jail, right? And everybody pay attention to this. What we're gonna have here for the next little while is leaderless resistance. Yes, we'll call it leaderless resistance. That means we're going to inform you on a daily, monthly, minute-to-minute basis on what would be good for you, not for us. And even if you're on the street, you can have call-ins or send a message. And if you're in some penitentiary somewhere and you start hearing this, if you're in a penitentiary, let's say you're a Muslim. We used to try to get along in prisons together. Even when some followed the chief and some didn't follow the chief, that was what they said. You're not following the chief. That's pitiful. That meant you was a different team. Now, they got people in the pen, them old short pants wearing Muslims. If you don't do this, you're not even a Muslim. And them mean old jokers will almost hurt you, and they won't hurt boss man at all. They paid for by Saudi Arabia. They're encouraged by Saudi Arabia. They're so-called Wahhabis, and they don't have nothing, no institutions out here for you when you get out of prison. They don't care nothing about you, and they want you to sit up in there and argue about dumb stuff that don't produce anything. So this unity we're talking about is a comprehensive type of unity. That's why we're going to slow down. We're going to go back. Just almost pretend like you, well, don't pretend like you didn't hear it. But we're going to go over the system, maybe 1 hour at a time, and systematic, day in and day out, over and over again, until it begins to settle in. But so we got a little bit of it out. And the last thing I'd like to remind you of before closing, simple little things. Fiqh of clarification. Self-control, disciplining the nafs. And Quranic command about ulil amr minkum. Leadership minkum, from amongst yourselves. We're not anti-immigrant, but the immigrant let people beat them upside the head. They're right out there, just go ask anybody. They let them get, their kids get killed because they want to be white. You want to follow them? I'm not following them. They can say what they want about us. We take abuse, but it's for a purpose. But ain't nobody gonna walk up and just say, well, I'm gonna bust you upside the head because I feel like it, or I'm gonna take your stuff because I feel like it. Historical epic, that's the time we're living in. Design fitna, get so powerful and get so on your job that you can design your fitna and you can trap people into your fitna. And you act when you get ready. To hell with them in their courts. You can act when you get ready. Because you're actually, don't run away with yourself like, I'm running this show. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can sleep on boss man and you can whoop him all day long. You can do that. All you got to do is feel that you can do it and know you can do it, and it has been done before. And at this time, the system is shattering. It's got cracks everywhere. It ain't working like it used to. It's not working like it used to, and it's not going to last. And if you're not organized, right, and if you're not trained, you're going to be in bad shape. Dear people, post-American Empire, of course this is 2011, post-American Empire. Do you see any post-American Empire running around? Yes, it's everywhere. Tell the truth. This is not post already, but it's 2 hours away from being post. East Oakland Azad, that means liberated Oakland. Azad, liberated Oakland, like Kashmir Azad, liberated Oakland. Acting heroic. You know, you didn't have people. I like to watch the Negroes used to fly the planes and stuff. Tuskegee Airmen and stuff. That stuff. We were Negroes, but we did heroic stuff. You know why? Mainly to just prove to the white man that we was all right, but that was dumb, right? I mean, he didn't give you nothing when you got back. But we have heroics in us. We have heroics in us. What we've done here is already heroic. Ain't nobody else have done it. Ain't nobody ever even came close to this. You saw Fred Hampton, they killed him in Chicago, and they telling everybody, we kill niggas when we get ready. They ain't did it to us. They ain't did it to us. They can't even make us do nothing. And they got the whole system. And they got everybody working for them. Can you imagine? That they got the whole thing. Just got to think about it. It's either true or it's not. Everybody working for them, and they can't make a nigga do nothing. Just stick your feet up on the thing and say, I ain't doing nothing till I get ready. Ain't nothing they can do about it. We'll take it then, sucker. Okay. Order of battle, 10% rule. Look how many times we've used this. It was down to $581. And in a hot minute, we back on track. Then we back on track with to get $1 million for Imam Jamil, and the government snatches, call it 100,000. It's 10% of $1 million. Look how fast we got there. Pop. Don't sweat it. From Stalingrad to Oakland. That stuff is true. They overplayed their hand thinking we're going to go in there and just march over the Russians and kill 27 million Russians. Good God Almighty. People, they don't even think those numbers are 27 million people. They paid for it though. Special event, main event. This is the main event. This one right here. It's your main event. We're doing that now. This is the main event. Psych out Zionist Americans. Yes, we've done it. We done psychologically whooped them. We made them print in their magazines everything that we say. That's what we did. They printed all the magazines. They don't do it anymore. But we were just sleeping on them and said, we're going to have psychological guerrilla warfare, Islamic Institute for Counter Zion American Psychology. That's insane. Look what these niggas want to do, and then they printed it and all their stuff. So everybody read it. And so we said, thank you very much. That's what we told them. That's what we wanted them to do, and that's what they did. We don't have no magazine yet. So they said the nigga tricked us. Of course we did. How do you think Negroes lasted all this time with all the white folks whooping them and doing everything? They had more sense than the white man. They had more sense than the white man. That's all. Or than the Americans, or whoever it was. Are there any questions or comments? I know that we don't worry. We'll come back Tuesday. It'll be systematic. It'll be organized. We're going to come back Thursday, systematic and organized, and everything will be, just consider this a trial balloon. Any questions or comments? By the way, tax time is coming up. Of course, if anybody want to help, and tax time is serious, here's what we'll do. We pay these taxes off, and they got a lot around there that they've been messing around with. So my thing is, I figure they want us to sell it. So they keep boosting up. So we'll sell one lot around there. the one 50, 45. We just sell it. But we're gonna ask 40% more. We're gonna sell it for a lot. We just have to find, does anybody have any idea about what lots cost around here? Those lots are 4,000 square feet over there. 100 feet deep and 40% wide. These right up here are 4,500. They're 30% wide and 150 feet long. So these are narrower. Yeah, these lots over here are narrower but longer. Yeah, would you kind of look into that and see what the lots, that's 4,000 square feet. And no, I didn't got tons. I throw it away because I was saying, well, but we did buy a piece of property in Oakland. We just bought a lot for $10,000, and then when I came here, it was down on Railroad Avenue. I sold it for $16,000. That was a lot of money then. But so we don't have to hold on to everything. All we do is take that. We're gonna get our 150. What did we say? $100 million from the white man. Yeah, and we're gonna stretch out. A lot of people don't think we're gonna get nothing from Boss Man. We got to get it from Boss Man. And if he don't give it, we're gonna write so many articles and stand outside so much and make fun of him. Look what he did. No, he gotta pay. He gotta have to. There's no. He can't get around it. He can't get around it. Yeah, and at this time too, they did that. Yes, they did it. We'll get a couple of $2 lawyers or $3 lawyers, or whatever we want to do. We got big wins coming up. Is it any questions or comments? I didn't mean to stay here so long.
Well, brother said, As-Sabiqun, this is Muhammad Abdullah in San Diego. He said he used to come to National Taqwa and teach us how life. And Qabul Salam, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Someone said they enjoyed the conversation.
You know, believe it or not, I got a call the other day. I was going to show you from Albania. Yeah, it's from Albania. I'll show you next time. It says Albania. I saw all them numbers. It was after Juma. And y'all probably know the guy. I said, man, where you calling from? He said, Albania. I said, oh, okay. And they said, man, what you were saying was right on and all that. Okay. All that, it don't make a much difference because half of it is the government playing with us and sending us false information, but it don't make no difference. Do you know we've been getting false information for 40 years? Actually 50 years. And we keep making the right decisions. Yeah, think about it. They get it, think about what comes to us. It's always shaded this way, shaded that way, and it ain't having no effect. It's September the 15th, I think. 15th, but technically, you know, if I had the money, I'd go down there and pay them tomorrow. I pay bills early. You probably saw that I pay soon as but we ain't in no big rush right now. So if we, huh? Yeah, no, if we can, so I'll try to pay them right around the first, the second, or the third, maybe the fourth, or the fifth. Maybe on the 16th, no, 15th, maybe around the 10th or something. But no, we're just, they keep boosting them up, you know. And since we don't have an occupation permit, we can't get taxes until we get a, you know. Yeah, we can't, and then the thing about, we used to get homesteading. You know, that homesteading thing where you get so much off. If you incorporate it, you can't get it. And so we don't want to bother with them that this is non-profit corporation because they might have something dumb, you know what I mean, that could extend it to make it even more. So we'll just suffer this time, and then after that, by the time taxes roll around again, we'll be on a roll. And anything they do in Oakland, we're just gonna charge them for it. Like, anything they have done in Oakland, we're gonna charge them for that. They don't have a right to do anything that they have done. And we're going to run them all the way down through their own system. And if they don't pay up, we'll just be outside till they do. That's all. Yeah. Let the people, do y'all really do that to those people? Yeah. Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you very much. As-salamu alaykum.